When you're a professional athlete, your life becomes very public, very fast. This means that everyone wants to know what you're doing and how much money you're earning. The downside to being an athlete, in addition to knowing how much money you earn each week, people are also aware of when you are and are not at home, and this can be very dangerous. Most athletes will be smart enough to spend part of their fortune on a sophisticated security system, but criminals still sometimes manage to find a way to steal from an athlete, whether it's from their home or even out on the streets. Here we'll take a look at some of the stories of 8 NFL players who have been victims of robbery or burglary. As you'll see, some haven't been so lucky, so keep watching till the end, guys, because you won't believe how much was stolen from someone of these NFL players. First up, we got Rob Gronkowski. Gronk, whose house was robbed while he was away for the 2018 Super Bowl. In February 2018, Rob was in Minneapolis, where he scored 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. His Massachusetts home burglarized at the same time. The burglary was reported in the late afternoon on the 5th of February to the local police. According to the report, the items stolen from the house included a watch, a bracelet, and 3 handguns. At the time, police officials said they would not release any further information about the active investigation at the time. On a positive note, during the game, Gronkowski made 9 catches for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns in the championship game. At number 2, we have Ray Armstrong and Reuben. This is crazy. These two were held up at gunpoint in October of 2017. The 2 San Fran 49er players were held up at gunpoint in an attempted robbery in their team city. Ray Armstrong and Reuben were at a nightclub where they noticed a suspicious-looking white Audi circling the building. Foster gave his jewelry to a friend and requested security to escort them outside to their car. After they were outside, 2 masked men approached them, carrying an assault rifle and a handgun. The 2 players started to run and were able to escape unharmed. They called the police from a nearby hotel. Sadly, the men who attempted the robbery escaped and were never apprehended. Next up at 3, we have Patrick Mahomes, who unfortunately was also robbed at gunpoint. According to reports, the Kansas City Chiefs' first-round draft pick, Patrick Mahomes, was robbed at gunpoint in May 2017. Mahomes and 3 other players were getting out of a vehicle in Smith County, Texas, when they were approached by 2 men. One of them gestured that he had a handgun and demanded personal belongings. After the incident, police were able to locate the vehicle and stolen property. Shortly after, they arrested 2 suspects. Police believed it to be a random act, in that the thieves did not realize Mahomes was an NFL player. The robber was eventually sentenced to 12 years in prison for the crime. Up at number 4, we have Quinton Spain. Quinton was drugged and robbed of $113,000 worth of jewelry. During Pro Bowl weekend in February 2017, the Tennessee Titans player Quinton Spain was drugged and robbed of $113,000 worth of jewelry after Spain met a woman at an Orlando nightclub. The 2 went to a hotel room where the woman made him a drink. Unfortunately, following the drink, Spain didn't remember anything after that until he woke up to find he was missing 2 gold chains and a Rolex watch. The Rolex watch was reported to be worth almost $50,000 alone. To add to that, 2 other men reported to the police that they were also victimized in similar incidents in the Orlando area during the same time as Pro Bowl weekend. In both of those cases, the men were given drinks, fell asleep, and later woke up to find their valuables missing. At number 5, Earl Wolff. Earl was kidnapped and robbed in February 2016. Earl, then a 3-year NFL veteran, returned to his home in North Carolina to celebrate the birthdays of his mother and a friend. Around midnight, he was leaving the house when he was kidnapped at gunpoint by masked men. After realizing he was an NFL player, the gunmen drove him to the bank so he could retrieve money for them. He told police they also drove to his friend's house to extort money from him. As a result of the kidnapping, Wolff also suffered cuts on his right knee and multiple bruises when he was slashed by a gun. The local police went on to arrest the man and charged him with robbery with a dangerous weapon, first-degree kidnapping, possession of a stolen vehicle, and more. At the time of the incident, Wolff was a safety for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, what's worse than being robbed? How about being robbed twice in one day? At number 6, we have Terrence West. Terrence was unfortunate enough to be robbed twice in one day of a Rolex and $5,000 cash. Lightning might not strike twice in the same place, but robberies apparently do, sometimes in the same day. In 2016, Baltimore Ravens running back Terrence West was robbed at a Miami hotel twice within a few hours span. In the first incident, the woman West had been chatting with in the lobby of this hotel was later able to obtain the key to his room from the front desk. They then used this key to enter the room and steal 2 Rolex watches. After West reported the theft that night, he answered a knock at his door, and a man forced his way into the room where he threatened West and his friend who was with him in the hotel. The man indicated he had a firearm and demanded cash. West handed over $5,000. West went on to seek legal damages from the hotel, and a settlement was reached. At number 7, Shaun Rogers. Unfortunately, Rogers was robbed of $500,000 worth of jewelry. In a 2013 incident similar to that of Quinton Spain, the New York Giants defensive, Shaun Rogers, left a nightclub with a woman he had just met and took her to his South Beach hotel room. Upon arrival, he removed $100,000 diamond earrings, two $160,000 watches, and a $50,000 gold necklace and put them in the hotel's room safe. To his surprise, when Rogers woke up in the next morning, both the woman and his jewelry were gone. 4 months later, police arrested a 25-year-old woman for the crime and other larceny, where jewelry and cash were taken. She was identified as one of 4 women who were said to have picked up men at upscale bars, drugged them, and stole their valuables. It's very sad that there are people like this in the world. Le'Veon Bell. In an embarrassing situation for the Jets star running back, it is alleged that 2 of his girlfriends looted him of a cool $746,000 in jewels, including a Rolex watch and his iconic Black Panther chain. Yes, that's right. He was robbed by 2 women, his girlfriends, as he referred to them. The best part about this is when police asked for a description of what the suspects were wearing, he told the police he didn't know because he left them naked in his bed. Come on, guys. Now, I'm not to judge a threesome or whatever, but he needs to have some common sense. You can't just leave strangers in your house with all your stuff. This is a major blow to anyone. Lastly, and sadly, we have Shaun Taylor, a tragic story. Shaun was involved in a robbery gone wrong, and it resulted in his untimely death. In a sad story from 2007, Washington Redskins star Shaun Taylor, who was only 24 at the time, was killed during a botched burglary in his Miami home. The tragic story of Shaun Taylor rocked the sporting world, seeing the free safety for the Washington Redskins die at 24 years old. Whilst Taylor was away from his house, he was robbed in November of 2007. Just 8 days later, the robbers returned, but did not expect Taylor to be home as the Redskins star had a knee injury. Taylor was in fact home with his girlfriend and baby daughter. Upon confronting the intruders, Shaun was shot. The shot severed his femoral artery, and he would die later in the hospital that day. 5 men were arrested and charged shortly after. Fortunately, all 5 of the intruders were sentenced and are behind bars today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Keep watching now for a bonus video showing the best plays in NFL history.